even go with here, Orient, because you just fought something that was the size of the mountain, combined with about 20 double-decker buses, with a Hindu god. Like, where do we go from there? Because this chapter was titled Savage God, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's kind of the best explanation to describe what exactly Musashi was either dealing with, same thing with Kojiro, but this chapter was more Kojiro's time to shine. It's showing that no, this is the kind of duo antagonist that we're going to be having here, where it is we are going to be seeing hopefully one side of Musashi and then the other side from Kojiro, and seeing where this goes from here. And the stuff with his past especially was very interesting, as he, with the Bushis and how he kind of acts and all that, he doesn't have a resentment at all, but it's he kind of hates the fact that he was the one kind of being forced to be the sort of evil person, because we see it's immediately them as kids and all that is oh, the punishment for them is to dress up like Bushis and be idiots. But however, though, there is a rule, the fact that they have to be proven to be shown is we see that as Kojiro as a 6-year-old is forced to have a sword chained to him, and it's why do I have to be here as a warrior, as a family? And it's no, it's because of our ancestors, they were Bushis, and that there's a rule about this that we kind of have to keep them chained to our bodies, so people know. And it's just even we see from his father, where it's he is trying to explain to his 6-year-old child, where it's no, this is our pride itself, you can't lose it. And he's just he feels bad, where it's I feel bad that I'm not giving you the people that give you look, it's because you share my blood. I'm sorry about that, but it's we are struggling alone to take back this world from them. And it's no matter what people say it and all that, you're not scum, you're a descendant of a family that is proud to be who they are, so never forget that. And it was this is kind of why he's you can see that he's obviously he hates the whole thing about the Oni. He hates being part of this whole system. But it's when Musashi kind of talks to him more about it, it's more he just wanted to get out of there, and he's no, I just want to cut my ties with everything, instead of actually being a Bushi. Even though the fact that he does know some stuff about that, which we see later on in this chapter, is with his giant, which they still don't explain, his giant fucking motorbike, which, although I do appreciate him running the ass down out of the whole Oni, and it's oh no, we have to go, Kishin has called us, and it's these two running, and that thing that we saw from the start, they just decided to go straight for it, where it was oh, well, we got an idea for this, and it is fucking massive when it comes, because first it is just this Shinobu has this very weird thing of some of the monster designs that she does are really bizarre, because the first thing we see is just this egg. It's just this little egg with a beak and some talons, and they go and try and cut it, but it has this immense regeneration, and it's oh, here we go, I bring offerings of metal, please enjoy, and it eats it. And then possibly one of the most gorgeous panels I've seen in a very long time is this demonic creature with this symbol around it. Fire is everywhere. The way how it's completely shaded, paneled, and all that is absolutely stunning, and you get this amazing sense of scale of this thing of this is what they're actually dealing with. It's not with those fat little fucking cat things that we're dealing with the first chapter. It's no, this is the kind of threat level that we're dealing with, whereas these are the kind of Oni monstrosity, and this is what the difference is between them and a fucking Kishin, which this thing, it was called Engoku Tengu, or it was something insane. It's just the face on it was just demonic, and it's this has really reminded me of this is a way better design of Father, from Magi. That's kind of what the scale I was getting from it, whereas it's a lot more intimidating thing. However, the fact that it's one thing I feel weird about this chapter is that they deal with this thing in this chapter, where it's I was not expecting them to deal with a Kishin already this quickly, and the fact is that they more tricked it to attack his own body. But I'm still that, because the whole big threat is that they were planning on running away for the most part, because their weapons really wasn't doing anything to it. But the fact is that Kojiro was no, he wanted to keep a hold of that weapon that's so important to him, that's his father's memento, and you kind of had him losing his sword and kind of I'm not gonna give up, and the fact that fucking Musashi went in there and just tried to get it back for him after swallowing it, and I kind of, there was a great one or two moments where he's just like, he's on the Kishin's stomach and he is just ramming into it, and he's just like, no, we need to keep doing it, and he's like, give me back my friend's sword, and he's just like, get it out of your filthy stomach, and he's like sliding down and just ripping it to pieces, and I was like, this was, yeah, no, it was a really crazy, like, battle for the most part with this one. It's like, it was goddamn horrifying, and then you saw him get out of the cavity of the stomach of the acid, and then he just comes out and he's like, he's fine. He's like, here you go, Kojiro, here's your sword back, I'm fine, I'm just in stomach acid, I should be burning right now, but nah, it's fine. And then it's like no matter what he saw from there, it's like, no, this is my friend, this is something I value, this is my father's sword, and it's like, this is my pride, this treasure, like, I've carried since birth, and I don't want to lose this ever again. And he's like, and he knew all along that this was the most important thing to me. And overall, like, I think for like how the chapter ends, where it's like, oh, let's go to the next destination, and it's like, well, we dealt with that thing, that giant monster, and it cuts to black where we see more people in the same kind of bike as like Kojiro are. So these are mainly probably more Bushi that have probably heard about them, or at least there's some troublemaking going around, because the fact that they took out something like a Kishin, it makes me go where it's like, is Shinobu like just pulling out all the stops? Because I'm not gonna lie, like I said, my favorite part of the entire chapter was just this amazing design creature. I do think that maybe it was a little quick that we dealt with this thing, but I think it's more like we need to quickly go through this stuff as fast as possible, because a lot of people these days don't want to have, like, Magi has a little bit of the slow start up, I would say, on there. Like, definitely it's like the first 2, maybe 3 volumes, you get that feel of like if you're gonna like this series or not. And this is definitely, I feel like, might want to be doing the same thing, where it's like, we want to see by the first series where we can go with this, and whether or not it does successful, we don't know, because like I said, like, Magi and all that was heavily popular and all that. I don't know like how it was at the end with its ranking and everything, but it lasted quite a while, and whether or not this will do the same, it depends. But overall, I'm having a blast with it. I definitely still, I'm more of a bigger fan of Musashi than I am with Kojiro's so far as a character, but like, we still have more to like kind of get to more of the feel of these characters. But it's like his whole reasoning and all that about his whole father and his family. It's like you can kind of tell more in this chapter what his whole kind of ideals were being placed in this one. But overall, yeah, no, I like this chapter so far. Orient is filling this great little spot for me. I am excited every time that, like, so far for the past 2 weeks where it's come out, where I've been like, yes, I've got an Orient chapter, I'm so looking forward to this. And it's like, it's nice just to have something to look forward to, instead of like, well, here's the regular old thing. It's like, no, let's add something up onto it. And I want to know more about the world. I want to know about these crystals that they also keep teasing, because they teased as well in the color page, where the fact that Musashi's going to be having some sort of ruby sort of thing, and like then they've shown Kojiro with like an amber, and obviously that's kind of represented their hair as well. But we've seen Orient, like every time we see Musashi on like any of the color pages or any of like the stuff that like the preview, we're seeing like these red crystals around him and like kind of the blade. So maybe we'll be seeing something a little bit more later on. I think it's just like now, it's like with these next couple of chapters, I want to more understand about the world, how things work, it's what are the repercussions dealing with like something like this with a Kishin. But overall, I want to explore more of the world as well, because like I hope it's like Magi, where her world building was fantastic, and I want to see more of that, and like her art style was gorgeous, and it's like, it shows because they dealt with something. But yeah, if anything I could say in the negative, it's like, god damn it, that thing was really cool, but I feel like that, like, to the scale and intimidation of how they were describing it, was like, these 2 newbie jobbers kind of dealt with it so quickly. So I'm hoping it's like, makes me wonder, like, if that's like something of a lower level Kishin, then what the hell are the big boys like? What are like the end all be all kind of like class god entities of this world? So I want to know about that. But overall, there, you can see what you think in the comment section down below. But that's all for me. Thanks always for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.